Hey guys, this is Travis Single with Mile High MMA Network, and I'm joined here in Boulder, Colorado on the north side at Atlas Flooring and none other than Leister Bowling. How are you doing, sir?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Now, Coach is a long-time person I've wanted to interview for a long time. I've heard of him before. I've seen him before. we seem to be cross paths, but I've never been able to sit down with an interview, so I'd be greatly appreciated to have your time.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Now, obviously, tonight will be the season premiere of Season 17 of The Ultimate Fighter. You were a coach for Season 16. Tell us about your experience with that, and then just what's some of the things that you actually learned just from being a coach?
I don't know how much I really learned. I guess the biggest surprise, and it's not really a surprise when you think about it, but how quick you form a bond with an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those guys, they come into that show, you know, one for all, you know, or all for one. They don't have a team, they don't have a family, they don't have any connection to the outside world. It sounds real fancy on TV when they say that, but I mean it's true. They
It's
don't
real
have,
life.
yeah, they don't have anybody. You know, they don't have anybody to fall back on. So you have a very short window to get them to buy into you as a coach and trust you. And I'd say, you know, when we were on the show, Lauren Landau, our strength coach, and myself were talking, and we were like, you know, we have about 2 days to get these guys to really buy into us or hate us, one of the two, you know. And I think we did a good job of getting them to buy into what we were telling them. And it's important because they need to trust their coaches while they're there. That's all they have. So
yeah, and one of the weird things that's actually happening tonight is, for the first time, they're allowing like family and friends to actually watch the fights that goes into the house, basically the top 28 going into 14. Was it weird just to be able to corner guys? You would basically have to, Coach T and Lauren would basically have to pick which fighter out of the 28 to kind of corner just to get them in the house.
The way it was very odd for us. So you're saying they get to have their own coaches there?
Well, I don't know if it's coaches. I just know it's family and friends, supposedly. Cool. So
that's cool because that's nerve-wracking, man. It's Mandalay Bay, empty.
Yeah.
So like I've been there when it's full, you know, but empty exactly. It makes it even more nerve-wracking. Like walk out and it's the same song for every guy. And Trevor and I cornered every fight from our locker room, and Lauren and Pat Barry warmed them up.
Oh, okay.
And then Shane observed, and we had Nate Marquardt sit behind us and take notes on every fight. That way,
strategizing.
Yeah, we had literally, I think, 4.5 hours straight of fights.
Okay.
And you know, at that point, it starts to blur. So we figured Nate, you know, he's a student of the game, so you know, we had him
taking all his notes,
all the notes, and the guys that really stood out to him, and you know, we kept our own notes as well. But that was, you know, helped us pick not only the best fighters, but good guys that we thought would be a good fit for us. So.
Yeah, and now one of the people that pretty much have kind of moved from his hometown all the way to Colorado here is Neil Magny. What's your thoughts on him and also his progress from on the show to what he is now coming up in the
He was
finals?
already very talented, obviously, you know, but he, man, that guy gets better every single day. He's really quiet. He's easy to coach, but almost hard because he doesn't ask questions. He doesn't argue.
Yeah, and he's such a lovable guy too.
Yeah, and when he does have a question, it's meaningful. You know, he's not the guy that just talks to talk. He's there to work hard. And he's come a long ways, man. I really think you're going to see a different Neil on February 23rd than what you saw for 6 weeks on The Ultimate Fighter. Nice.
Now, obviously, February 23rd, he's fighting as well as another Colorado person that you've worked with for a long time, is Brendan Schaub.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about how he's feeling as far as the LeVar Johnson fight falling through because of LeVar being injured, and now he's basically fighting LeVar again here in a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, that was a heartbreaker for him. I mean, we got through a great camp. He was looking amazing, you know, better than ever. Like you always say, oh, he's looking better, best Brendan you've ever seen. But, you know, Brendan is a lot more well-rounded than he's shown in any of his fights. He's got great wrestling. He showed that in the Crow Cop fight. Yeah. Crow Cop doesn't ever get taken down. No. I think Brendan double-legged him 6 times. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He's recently promoted to a brown belt. You know, he's got the whole package, but he hasn't been able to show it yet. So with LeVar, you know, LeVar's a big, heavy hitter, and Brendan is too. Most of his wins are knockouts, so, you know, we'll just see which game plan Brendan decides to use, but I'd like to see him, you know, show the world how well-rounded he is. Yeah,
something you brought up is a lot of people don't realize that. I've got to see you with Brendan. I got to see him ball with Brendan, and a lot of the ground game he has. But a lot of people don't realize for the ground game. Do you kind of have as a coach, would you kind of like to see it more go to a ground instead of him always standing up all the time, or is it just pretty much how he feels comfortable and how you guys decide to go with him?
It's mixed martial arts, so the last thing I want to see is guys you know, as a wrestling coach, I don't want to see guys just taking people down and not doing anything. So that's the one thing with Amal and Elliot coaching the jiu-jitsu side. And, you know, we've got Trevor with boxing, Lauren with strength conditioning. We got the whole package, but I think we mix them all together really well. So I just want to see them evolve every fight.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see the guys, you know, using different tools every fight. And, of course, I like, you know, pat myself on the back when Brendan took down
Takes a takedown, exactly, yeah.
But, you know, I just like to see him fight exciting fights and do well.
Now, obviously, he recently just moved out to California, but he seems to transition back and forth between Cali and here.
He stays here for his entire camp.
Yeah.
So he's out there, you know, for a couple months and comes back, and like he did his last 2 camps here. So
yeah. Do you think that's really makes a difference? Because I know he's been training with the Gracies out there sometimes as well. So is it really that much of a difference, or his camp is pretty much Colorado?
I'd say his camp's Colorado, no matter what. I mean, he trains with those guys all the time when he's there. But, you know, when he's fight night, you'll see the same.
Yeah.
The usual suspects in his corner, so.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as far as the Ultimate Fighter, it's going to be Team John Jones versus Team Chael Sonnen. I got to interview Matt Linden last week and kind of asked him about what he thought about Chael Sonnen kind of getting the automatic title shot. What's your thoughts on it? He pretty much sells fights, so that's how it goes.
I mean, it's a business.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to make yourself marketable, however that is. I think Chael's a very good guy. I think a lot of his bad guy image is just to get himself some more money.
Yeah, it's more gimmicks, I think, than anything else.
But he's got a good heart when it comes down to it. He's a good person. Happy for him. Do other people deserve it? Yeah. You know, same thing with Ronda Rousey. You know, like I think she deserves to be the women's champion. I don't have any problem with her handing her the belt.
Yeah.
She deserves it. She's a star, you know, but does she deserve to headline her first show over Dan Henderson?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's a business. It's a title
That's
fight.
true.
It's not always fair. Life's not fair. So.
Yeah, and I think it's all about marketability and stuff that obviously you've seen over the years too, just from being, you know, in Cowboys' corner and other fighters' corner, just being the evolution of UFC just in the years that we've known about it and stuff. So it's got to be incredible just to see. Now, obviously, this Saturday night you'll be in Chicago cornering Donald Cerrone. What's your thoughts on, you know, what his experience was at UFC 150 here in Denver, and how do you think it's kind of been a transition from him kind of being fighting a guy that he used to be training partners with in Melbourne to now somebody that he doesn't like at all, Anthony?
I honestly don't think Cowboy would have a problem fighting anybody.
Yeah.
So he doesn't like Pettis. You know, sometimes that can backfire. He didn't like Diaz either, you know, so you can't let your emotions play too much of a role. But, you know, in Denver, I didn't corner Cowboy in that fight. I was in the locker room when he fought, though. I was with Jared Hammond, and he was nervous, man. There was a lot of pressure when you're fighting in front of your home crowd. And I mean, you heard the ovation.
I was floor level, and that place exploded because I got to luckily see him back in WC when he fought at the First Bank Center in Brookville. So the crowd erupted. Of course, Jamie Varner played the bad guy role in that fight as well. So.
I mean, he got fight of the night in like a minute.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the crowd had a lot to do with that. He got fight of the night and knockout of the night, I think. But yeah, he doesn't have a problem fighting anybody. He'd fight Leonard Garcia, and that's his best friend. So
I know.
You know, he's ready. I can tell you that. He's looking really good. And you know, this camp's really, he wanted to make focus on his wrestling and really try to evolve that part of his game. And, you know, I tip my hat to him for that. It's hard to be 30 years old or however old he is and say, I want to add something to my game, you know, but that's just how these guys do, evolving as mixed martial artists, you know?
Yeah, and obviously it looks like it's definitely going to be a #1 contender fight, especially with the announcement of Gilbert Melendez versus Ben Henderson coming up here in April in San Jose.